Hi, welcome. It's Kenny Russell, Bulldoze of Faith, living life in the Spirit. We are on the Planting Seeds of Light tour here in the USA, and we are in Virginia, and I'm with Lisa Luck. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Excellent. Well,
Good.
Thanks for coming on just to share a little bit about your testimony and what the Father is doing in your life. And what we're looking to do is get testimonies of the journey coming into Hebraic roots, why people are wanting to go back, follow the Torah. Tell me a little bit about your story.
Well, we had some friends who were in the Hebraic roots, and they started talking to us and kind of, it was interesting. And my daughter, it was really interesting to her, and we had watched some films and DVDs, and it just touched our heart. And it was like, this is what we should be doing. This,
Right.
We had kind of lost faith in the churches, and this just, it was like it just felt right. It felt
Wow.
like family. And so we started going to friends' house and started doing Shabbat and started going to new moons. And it just, I don't know, it just seemed like that's where we were supposed to be. So we started reading and learning. And
So you had an increase in hunger to see the Word
Oh,
because
yes.
it was so fresh and new compared to what you were used to.
oh, yes.
Yeah. And how long ago, when did this transition happen in your life? Is it just recently or is it quite a while back?
About 3 years.
About 3 years.
Yeah,
Excellent.
so it's not been
Yeah.
long.
Me too. It's only about 3 years for me.
Okay.
Yeah. Isn't that exciting? It's amazing what the Father is doing.
Yes.
So you started to follow Shabbat, looking at the feasts. What was some of the key signs that just literally transformed your world that you knew this was definitely the way you should go?
Well, probably our first Passover we did with some friends, and that was just, I don't know, it was just so touching.
Uh-huh.
And we felt like this was right. And then the more the Torah that we learned and the more we read, it just, I don't know how to explain it. It just kind of takes your heart.
Right.
And it's like that's where you want to be, and you want to learn, and you want to please Him. And it was kind
Amen.
of like all of a sudden we're like, all that other stuff doesn't mean anything, And, we learned that it's not about Christmas, not about Easter, not about any of those. We wanted to do the biblical feasts.
Yeah.
We wanted to, join that, and it just felt right. My
Right.
daughter went through the house and cleaned everything out that she didn't think should be
For
there.
unleavened bread, let's get this
Yes.
place cleaned. Yeah.
So, yeah.
It really is exciting as we act out these rehearsals that the Father has called us to do.
Yes.
Yeshua, He has fulfilled the spring feasts, and that's what we see through Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And when we see the Gospels from that perspective, it's so transforming. One thing we want people to understand is, when you come to faith in Yeshua and someone says, read the Bible, you're accepting Yeshua, you know that He is the Son of Yahovah, the Son of God. But so often we're started in the Gospels, and it's still a good place to start. But if we start in the Gospels and don't go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Now, did you find in your Christian experience you spent a lot of time in Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, these books?
Well, I used to drive to work, and I had it on tape. So
Uh-huh.
I went through it about 3 times listening.
Right.
And no, the church never did. It was always the New Testament. It was never the Old Testament.
Right.
So we didn't in church. I did when I was listening to it.
Right.
But
Excellent.
So it was different. So now to go back and be reading that, because now we're trying to go through that over
Get a
and
deeper
over with the Torah.
understanding,
A deeper
yeah.
understanding, definitely. And Shabbat, when we first started keeping that, it was like now it's such a joy. We look forward to
Amen.
it, getting everything done on Friday. Our Saturday is ours and the Lord's and, Yahweh's, and we just love it. And then, Sunday we go back shopping
Yeah.
to do whatever.
But you get that proper Sabbath rest, because some people say it
Yes.
doesn't really matter what day you have the Sabbath, but it really does matter, doesn't it?
I can tell you, since we have been keeping the Sabbath, Yahweh has been blessing us immensely. I mean,
Amen.
I can say that from my heart. He has. So.
Amen. And what type of response did you get from friends and family?
Oh. They're not. Some of our friends are like, okay, they understand it, and we've given them tapes and things to look at, but they're not there, and our
Right.
family's definitely not there. So we just kind of do what we do and just don't worry about it.
Well, it's about living the life, isn't it?
It
show,
is.
Show our lives by example.
Exactly.
You follow it through, and you just pray that they will read your life and see what's happening and see the
Yes.
blessings that come with keeping the Shabbat. Did you find coming into Hebraic Roots, was it a walk of isolation for you at the start? Did you know of other people?
It was a couple families that
Mhm.
we knew, and we started going and doing things with them. And then now we have met, probably just this year, met many more families. And it's so nice to realize that there's so many more people out there than you ever thought.
Amen. And that's one thing we're witnessing as we're traveling around. We're seeing such an increase of people coming back to the Hebraic roots of the faith, that they are delving into the scriptures, that they want to read at the front of the book. There's no other book that you would go and buy in a store and start reading it 3/4 of the way through. You know, that they would say that's insanity. You want to read and understand what the author has to say, and that's our quest to you today. We encourage you, go back, start reading from the beginning of the book and see what the author has to say to you, and then you'll start to discover that all the things Yeshua said, it wasn't something new.
No.
He was quoting from the Torah and from the Tanakh and just revealing his plans and purposes for us. Well, it's so nice to hear what the Father's doing in your life. Thank you very much for
Yes.
sharing, and
Thank
we really
you.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.